Now, if you follow my channel over the years, you know I've covered the XPS line pretty extensively between the XPS 13, the 15, the 17, and you know how I feel about it. But of course, there's always the sweet spot that I've always wanted, and that, of course, would be the XPS 14. Now, of course, that doesn't exist as we know it today, but there is something pretty close to it that has a lot of that XPS DNA, but it's in a mobile workstation form factor. Yes, we're talking about the Dell Precision 5480, a 14-inch mobile workstation. It has all the looks of the XPS line, but has a lot of the power that we'd expect out of a workstation. So we're talking about the Core i9-13900H. We're talking about the NVIDIA RTX 3000 Ada Lovelace graphics. Yes, professional grade graphics for certain kinds of applications, ISV certified applications that professionals need. We're going to talk about why I think this is the XPS 14 you actually want. Hey everybody, this is Andrew, and this is my review of the Dell Precision 5480 mobile workstation here for 2023. Coming up.
Now, before we get to the unit itself, I just want to let everyone know, in the interest of transparency and full disclosure, I'm not being paid by Dell, I'm not being sponsored by Dell. All the opinions you're about to hear are my own. Dell is not getting copy approval. That means they're seeing this video for the first time, just like you. Now, this unit is on loan from Dell, and once this review is done, I'll be sending it back. Pricing starts at $2,069. Price as tested here today, $4,370.36. Again, this is a very expensive product because it is geared towards professionals that in an industry where they look at this product as a tool, not so much at the price, because they'll make this pack in a couple of projects, maybe one project or not even that, and they're not going to blink at the price tag. So they want to get the right tool for the job. This has those ISV certified drivers, has been optimized for the type of work they're doing, CAD work, SolidWorks, 3D rendering, medical imaging, video editing in the high-end sphere, and all of that. So just keep that in mind when you look at the price tag. And of course, I'll leave links for more information on where you can buy it in the description below. You know the drill, folks. Let's get this out of the box. Okay, so we have that typical packaging we've seen from Dell. It says Precision right there. Let's put that to the side for the moment. Nothing else here. There's nothing else in this outer box, so we can put that away. So right off the bat, I could feel the heft of this. It's a pretty premium product here. Welcome to Dell. Let's do great things together. We've seen that before. All right, we get some documentation right off the bat. Precision 5480s here. We know yada, yada, yada. We know the deal here. Warranty information. Pretty nice packaging as usual, especially from their Precision line. But of course, it's been consistent even with the XPS line. All right. And then, of course, let's take a look at the charger. Now, this is 130 watts, and then this is a USB Type-C charger here. And I like the fact that it's pretty compact, so it's going to be easy to take with you on the go. We'll get a measurement of the weight all in a moment. We get to power cord, pretty typical stuff here. And then, of course, we get this adapter. We've seen this on the XPS line and so forth. You get a HDMI, you get USB-A, and of course, it connects via Type-C. So nice little touch in the box, of course. It's got like a graphite color, like a grayish color. Beautiful laptop, folks. You can see it here, right there. And this says Precision 5480 on the bottom there. All metal design, very solid, very, very solid feeling, very nice design here. Very little flex or give in the chassis. You can see the design there, okay? It's pretty nice, and it's a throwback a little bit to the XPS line, right? The consumer-based line. All right, let's see if we can open this up with one finger. We can. 1.617 kilograms or 3 pounds, 9.0 ounces. And then if we want to add the travel weight here, here's your power cord and your power charger all in here, 4 pounds, 9.4 ounces. And then, of course, if we go to kilograms, 2.08 kilograms. So it's got a little bit of heft, but it is packing a punch under the hood. There's no doubt about it, folks. Okay, let's check out the port selection. On the left side is a 3.5 millimeter microphone headphone combo jack. Next to that are two USB Type-C Thunderbolt 4 ports that are full service, supporting data, charge, and display out. And also on that left side is your optional smart card reader. And moving over to the right side is a micro SD card reader. Next to that are two more USB Type-C Thunderbolt 4 ports that are also full service. And finally, you get a Kensington lock port to round out the ports on the unit itself. Now, they do give you that dongle in the box that gives you HDMI and USB Type-A. So that is nice that they include that in the box. Now, let's concentrate on the display here. It's a good one, folks. We're looking at an IPS display. It's 14 inches, QHD plus resolution, 2560 by 1600. It is a touch display, so that's good for those that want touch. And it has good brightness here, 474 nits of brightness, although they claim 500, a little bit below that, but certainly good enough for what you need it to do. And it has good coverage of the color gamut, although not as good as an OLED display, but good nonetheless. 100% sRGB, 79% Adobe RGB, 81% of the DCI P3 wide color gamut, 74% NTSC. So that is looking good. It's color accurate under 2. We like to see that, so it's 1.7 Delta E score, high contrast, which is good black levels, good white point, overall very good. And I didn't notice any PWM or screen flickering in my testing, so that's been pretty good overall. Now, when you're not doing work, as far as your downtime, you can consume media on this. Watching Netflix, Amazon, YouTube has been very good, although it is not an HDR display, just keep that in mind, but it is good nonetheless. I really like this display. It's got the really slim bezels, which gives it a nice, sleek, and modern look, and overall great contrast, sharpness. Everything on it is really good. Everything seems to pop. Overall, I would say a nice job here in terms of the display. Now, one thing I will note, there is no 4K option, of course. I don't think on a 14-inch laptop that's a big deal. I don't think you need anything higher than a QHD Plus, is what you get here. So not a big deal. And the other thing is there's no high refresh rate option here. It's 60 hertz. And now no option for 90 or 120 like you get on other laptops. Just something to keep in mind. But overall, I think they did a really good job here in terms of the display. So this is the camera on the Dell Precision 5480 here for 2023. An HD camera here. It's an IR camera. That means you can log in with face recognition with Windows Hello. Now, the power button also doubles as a fingerprint scanner. That worked well. So you have two ways to log in, of course, with biometrics, with that including the face recognition, of course, that fingerprint scanner. Now, the other thing you do get here are the studio effects. You got the auto framing. That always keeps you in frame, of course. You got the eye contact, which, of course, makes it look like you're always looking at the subject. A little creepy, I think. And then, of course, the background blur effect. That will blur the background in case you have a messy background. All those effects are here, which we like to see, of course. Would have been nice to have 1080p, but we get 720p here. But it's going to be perfectly fine for your Zoom calls and whatever you need to do on this. It's not a big deal, as I think a lot of you are already back to work. But for those working from home or hybrid workers, you might want to use an external camera. But as far as a 720p camera is concerned, it's not bad, of course, so you'll get the job done with it. But I want to know what you think. Let me know in the comment section below. Okay, let's check out the performance, and it's really good here, folks. We're looking at the Core i9-13900H, a very powerful CPU. We've seen it before. It has 45 watts with a total of cores of 14 cores, 8 efficient cores, 6 performance cores, and excellent single and multi-core performance as indicated by these benchmark results. Graphics performance here is really good because it has the RTX 3000 Ada Lovelace graphics, 50 watts TDP. That would be the equivalent of, say, an RTX 4070 GPU, and we're seeing really good graphics performance here. But the key difference here is this is really optimized for professional grade mobile workstation applications, or professional grade applications, I should say, with ISV certifications, SolidWorks, 3D rendering, medical imaging, and stuff like that. This is where this is going to shine. Now, as far as the single core score here from the Cinebench R23, excellent performance here, as well as the multi-core performance here of the Cinebench R23. So doing everyday tasks such as Microsoft Office, email, web browsing, all were really, really well on this. There was no issues at all. Of course, it's going to be handled very well by this machine. And of course, if you're going to do graphics work, especially video editing in DaVinci Resolve, Premiere Pro, and stuff like that, you're going to see excellent performance here as indicated by these numbers. And speaking of video editing, when I rendered a 3-minute H.264 video in DaVinci Resolve, it took 1 minute 37 seconds to render that video. and even beating out the Apple Mac Studio with its M1 Max chipset. And it only took 1 minute 35 seconds to render that same video in an H.265 codec. And even though this is a professional mobile workstation, you're still going to get very playable frame rates on some of the more popular titles. So when you're not doing work on your downtime, you can play some games on this, as indicated by these very playable frame rates, again, on these popular titles, especially Cyberpunk 2077. If you play with the settings, you can get some really nice frame rates here. Very impressive graphical performance so far on this machine. Now, good news when it comes to thermal throttling. When I ran the Temps by stress test, it got a passing score of 99.5%, meaning it detected very little, if any, thermal throttling, even under heavy load. That's good. And when it comes to the surface temperatures under load, where you place your fingers on the keyboard, not very hot, very good, stayed relatively cool here. Even on the underside, it didn't get very hot, only by the venting at the back of the unit where you're not going to place your fingers or your lap or anything like that, didn't get very hot. And then finally on the side there, nothing to be concerned about. And good news when it comes to the fan noise, even under heavy load, it didn't go above 34, 35 decibels, which is really quiet considering what it's doing under the hood here. So they did a good job in terms of the surface temperatures, as far as the heat, and as far as the fan noise, not distracting at all. Nice job. And even more good news when it comes to battery. Yes, this has a 72 watt-hour battery, and it did 10 hours and 1 minute on the PC Mark X Modern Office battery test. Now, to put that into context, I recently did the Asus ZenBook Pro 14 OLED with its 76 watt-hour battery, and that did 7 hours and 23 minutes. Not quite as good as this Precision 5480. And then, of course, the video playback test, it did really well, 11 hours 33 minutes versus the 8 hours and 20 minutes I got on the ZenBook Pro 14 OLED. As far as gaming, expect maybe an hour, 55 minutes on the Precision 5480 versus the ZenBook Pro 14, which did 58 minutes. Not going to be great when it comes to the gaming performance as far as battery is concerned. But as far as everyday tasks, doing your work on this, battery life was actually pretty impressive here. Okay, let's talk about the internals. And as far as user upgradability, the SSD is user upgradable, and the included 1 terabyte drive that I have here did very well in terms of the reads and writes. Very fast speeds we like to see here in 2023, that's for sure. And as far as the RAM, we're looking at LPDDR5 RAM, and of course it is running in dual channel mode. And I have 64 gigabytes of RAM that is, of course, 6,000 megahertz RAM. So it's very fast RAM. Unfortunately, it is soldered into the motherboard, not upgradable by the user, but the fact that you can get this with 64 gigabytes is really great, especially in a 14-inch form factor as we have here. Now, as far as the wireless is concerned, we're looking at Wi-Fi 6E, Bluetooth combo card. That is soldered into the motherboard, not upgradable by the user, but the Wi-Fi and the Bluetooth have both been working flawlessly. I've had no issues with either one. Now, a couple of things I noted here. The hinges are on really good here. I didn't notice any screen wobble when typing, which is a big pet peeve of mine, so it's good to see very little, if any, screen wobble. Now, as far as the keyboard itself is concerned, I'm a big fan of this keyboard. I like the tactility, the key travel, very comfortable for typing out long documents, emails. I thought it worked out really well. I didn't feel like my fingers were going to bottom out. It also has a multi-stage backlight. That allows you to get work done in a dark room or a dimly lit environment. That worked well. And it has a pretty nicely sized touchpad here that I thought was very responsive when it comes to scrolling, doing all the gestures. Everything seemed to work out really well. And it really was proportionally sized here. It didn't feel like it was too small or too big. It was actually the right size here. I thought it worked out pretty well. And so my overall takeaway, good keyboard, good touchpad on this mobile workstation. Now, when it comes to the audio, there are quad speakers here, 4 2-watt speakers for a total output of 8 watts, and I thought the volume was good, the mids were decent, and the overall sound filled up the room rather nicely. I thought the volume was good here. So the takeaway here is, for a 14-inch mobile workstation, has some really good speakers here, but when you compare it to something like the MacBook Pro, which I think is the best in the business, the standard here, I don't think it quite lives up to that, but I think it holds its own for a mobile workstation, especially for a 14-inch form factor. But you be the judge. Let me know in the comment section below what you think. Now, let's give them a listen. Okay, let's bring it all home. What do I think about the Dell Precision 5480 here for 2023? And I gotta say, very impressive mobile workstation here. I like the GPU performance. I like the fact that it stays cool and quiet under load. The small 14-inch form factor is pretty amazing that they pack so much power under the hood. It's got a sharp 14-inch QHD Plus IPS touch display. I like that. Good port selection here, and overall comfortable keyboard and touchpad. Very good here. Now, the negatives, of course, the fact that it has a 720p webcam here in 2023 is not really great. No OLED option, no high refresh rate option, no upgradable RAM option here, no ECC RAM support either. So those are just some of the negatives, but I think the overall takeaway here, if you're in the market for a professional mobile workstation in a 14-inch form factor, this is one of the best out there, no doubt about it. Good CPU, GPU performance, good battery life, and overall great display. I highly recommend the Dell Precision 5480 for those that need something portable and powerful on the go.
So please hit the like button, please subscribe, please share this video. Don't forget to leave a comment in that comment section below. Let me know how I'm doing. Let me know if there's a device or something out there you think I should review. I'll do my best to try to make that happen. Don't forget to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and that platform formerly known as Twitter. So until next time, this is Andrew, and I'll see you in the next video.